The 7 costliest mistakes first-time founders make. Hello, I'm Chris Thanis. I'm a KMP developer. Tech support said they're coming out. So that'll be done with soon, guys. Tuesday, they said. We'll be done with that. So what are the 7 costliest mistakes? I'm looking at Ash Maury. He's got 24K subs. He's doing great. I'm going to give him a pre-like and a pre-subscribe. And I haven't watched this thing. I've just skimmed the first few seconds of it. And we're going to watch it together and see what it's about. Let's go.
Startups are inherently risky and can easily consume years of your life.
Yeah.
For the journey to be worthwhile, you have to chase asymmetric risks where the potential upside of your startup is
agreed. You have to have an unreasonable leverage in some niche, some unreasonable something you have that's other people just isn't obvious. It's not clear. It's not to even survive, and or you have to have a technical skill that you developed or a new technology leap that allows you to attack an existing thing from the outside, but you may find out some things in that business that you need to know ahead of time. But that's the roll of dice here on planet Earth in America, 2025. Let's keep going.
Much greater than the potential downside. Not enough to simply aim for a 1x or 2x return on your salary. You have to think a lot bigger and aim for a 10x return.
I mean, you hope. Well, it could be a 2x return, and it's a business niche that you enjoy as a set of customers you like to do, and a problem you like to takes up to your time, and they could be doing other things. It's like, no, I like doing this thing, so it doesn't have to be a 10x. That is a trope that's been very popular. I think definitely in the 2020s, it's probably before that too, where after you just solve all your money issues, then everything to be fine. It's like, nah, not quite, man. It doesn't quite work like that. But a lot of people want that, and I get it. And I think people should at least have it at least once to see, like, yeah, it's not the thing you thought it was going to be. Let's keep going.
While ruthlessly eliminating your downside. So in this video, I'm going to share my top 7 costliest mistakes that first-time founders make, so you can actively reduce your downside while swinging for the fences.
I like that.
This channel, my name is Ash Maurya. I'm an author and the creator of the popular one-page business modeling tool.
The lean stuff. I wish that we got see. I chose adventure driven because it lean just makes. I'm skinny and I don't eat, and when I do my startup, I have to eat ramen and sleep on a cot in the backyard where there's mosquitoes. No, man. No, adventure driven. We have supplies. We're gonna be well supplied. Yes, might get ourselves cut along the way. We might get dented, but we're gonna not be thinking that we have to do it on the minimal shoestring budget. Keep the lights off because we're trying to save a nickel. It's like, man, no. That's where that lean intonation is lean. That's why people are like, nah, I don't think I want fat. How about the fat startup? Let's keep going.
Lean canvas. On this channel, I share systematic strategies and techniques for launching and growing a startup. So
all right, fair
number 7 is quitting your day job to work on your startup.
Oh, don't do that.
This myth that you have to just believe in your idea strongly enough.
No, you can. You can still believe in it and keep your day job and keep going. I definitely did this before I started my startup. My first startup, on the weekends, even though my girlfriend was pissed off about it, it was like, hey, I gotta get out of this cycle. I can't just work for somebody else this whole time. It's not gonna happen for me like that. I just don't got the personality for it. She's like, okay. It's like, I'm just gonna be working on these things, and we will go out and we'll still do stuff, but I gotta work on this stuff on the weekend. She's like, okay. She was cool about it, but most women aren't. Most women are not cool with that. And luckily, I got a break. And it is a lot of it's luck. And I figured something out. I got my customer product market fit. Customers thought like my stuff, and I like doing the stuff for them. But I wasn't 10xing my salary. I think I was doubled it before I quit. So I waited till that happened because it took years. But I was also working another job and had a girlfriend and playing around. I did in the back of my mind. But there was a moment I was like, okay, I gotta get serious with this. And that's when I was like, okay, I got the juice. And there was nobody telling me this. Was no YouTube. This is back in 95? So there was just all of a sudden, it was like in the air and people were doing it. And I didn't really know anybody else that was doing like I was doing it or even these insights at all. I was just winging it, man.
Take a leap of faith. But quitting your day job as soon as you get hit with an idea is like jumping off a cliff with no parachute and no safety net.
Although people have done that. Let's just be real about it. There are moments if they're already in some other job and they see this opportunity here and they know they got 3 months, they got 2 months, they got some adventure driven period. I gotta go do this. And then you take a chance and it works out. But most of the time it doesn't. But sometimes it does. And we do hear about those stories where things worked out. But that's no guarantee. But again, saying that that it's not possible is also not being truthful. Let's keep
Even
going.
professional trapeze artists don't just leap into the air, they first practice with safety nets and wires. Professional or serial startup
True.
entrepreneurs are no different. The reality is that many successful ideas can and do start as side projects.
And then you get a network going and all that stuff. I blew my network up by quitting, selling my startup and going to be a yoga instructor. So I blew up my network. So I'm in the practice of actively rebuilding all that stuff. It takes a while. But if you've done one startup and it's easy to do another one, yeah, totally. But again, what are you doing with your life? Are you just doing all these stupid meetings, stand-ups, and all that stuff? Or did you do something like I did, which is like, I'm going to go live my life for a little while. After I sold my startup out there, I'm going to just take a total break from tech and dipped out. I pulled like the MySpace guy. He sold his company, took that check, and bounced. He went around the country just doing photography. I decided to become a yoga instructor and learned about a lot of things that most developers have never even considered. Let's keep going.
And with the right tools and knowledge, it is possible to first sufficiently de-risk any idea before deciding to go all in.
No, that's wrong. You might have somebody else might come up with the idea, and you're a week before you launch, they come out with a thing, and it's got all the feature set that you thought you were going to do in the next version. No, there's this stuff is inherently risky. That's why the reward profile, you can't but just be the money thing. It has to be this like, are you doing something with your life that's freaking worthwhile? Not just casino table.
For me, that is achieving problem solution fit with an idea. I consider problem solution fit to be the first significant milestone of a startup
Yeah, if you don't do that, you're not going to go anywhere else. Come on now.
idea, and it's when you go from hoping people will buy your product to confidently knowing that they will.
Yeah, they will, not confidently knowing they will. They already are. That's the trick, is to get them to buy before you have even a product. How do you do that? That's a good trick, isn't it? Wouldn't that be useful to have people already buying your product before you've written the right line of code to validate your program, validate even if the thing's going to go off anywhere? Even if you even got one customer, most companies don't want to do this. There's so many products, so many apps, so many things that people did not want to do this. And they realized after they built the thing, they spent 6 months of their life for nothing, which I've done.
With the right tools and knowledge, it is possible to achieve problem solution fit with any idea, irrespective of what solution you're building.
No, it's not. That's a big claim, sir. There's lots of people have tried all kinds of things, and most of them fail. Let's be quite honest. Most of them fail because it's really hard to get into somebody else's stuff to cheaper than it's already being done, or better, faster, more fun.
In just 90 days and working part-time, 10 to 15 hours a week. Until you can demonstrate problem solution fit, I find that quitting your day job or going full-time on any idea just doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah,
the main reason founders think they need to quit their day job is because of reason number 6. They think they need to first build a working product, and this too is a...
Yeah, you don't need to do that either. There may be a time when you need to, but there's also a time when you get away with it. But you got to be real careful about this, about not building your product first. Is you know you have to be, you're capable of whatever you're just saying, you could actually do it. It's not in the future like they did with this AI products. They said, oh yeah, this is going to be taking over people's jobs. What was it? Devin. Oh, Devin's going to take over our jobs. And yeah, at the time when they put that script, oh, look good. Look, we're going to got this guy just around the corner. And everyone's like, fuck Devin.
In a study on startup failure, most of the founders who failed didn't fail because they failed to build the product they set out to build. They failed because they built something that no one or not enough people wanted.
Correct. Because they got a little ahead of themselves. They got on the hype wave. They saw what everybody else was building. They thought they could just copy that. And some people did, and they were successful. Yeah, it makes sense why it happened. It was also a bit of a kayfabe, I think. I think it's a little bit of a psyop coming from Google. It's like, oh, you just build it and they're going to come. It's like, maybe in the very, very beginning, if it's something that's way better than something else. But even then, that's not how it happens. Let's keep going.
In other words, given enough time, money, and effort, we can build almost anything these days. The bigger question is, will...
That's big words. Build anything? You could build a time machine? Can you build a rocket to Mars that doesn't use fuel? I mean, anything in software? Okay, maybe. I don't know, man. Some of these off the cuff remarks are a little bit disconcerting. Let's keep going.
Will anyone care? Customer and market risk.
Yes, will anybody care? Exactly. So we have to try to get the product market fit, get some customers lined up first before you try to even build anything. How do you do that?
Are much riskier than technical or feasibility.
Right, because if you don't got no market, it don't matter if what the thing you built was. I call it a lead mine. Yes, you've got the perfect machine to go down and get the lead, but nobody wants this lead, man. This lead's not worth much. I mean, it may be worth something to somebody, but to a big audience, nah, people don't give a fuck about lead, man.
Risks. Now, it's common to think that the only way to test customer and market risks is with a working product.
Right, and I think that's also been pushed in the industry to get people to wasting time and on things that don't matter and won't ever matter and nobody will see and nobody cares about, and to get them to convince that they're going to be the next Mark Zuckerberg. Come on now, yes, this is a big kayfabe, and people, engineers want to do it, but they don't want to learn the skill of sales or promotion or building a website. No, they just want to do the coding. It's like, yeah, okay, well then you're not going to be in the game. You're not going to be in the software game.
But this too isn't true. Customers first.
I agree. That's cool. So I like. So he's got a plus 2 points for me so far. Keep going.
Promise of something better. A promise can be delivered through an ad or a landing page, or if you're even in an enterprise setting, through an email, phone call, on LinkedIn, or a webinar.
Yes, by asking people what they want. If they're in this particular thing, the solution space that you're thinking about doing, this is the part that's all soft and squishy and no guarantees, and like open ended and could go on for years. Talking to people, suggesting stuff, and you get caught in this loop too of just like, until you got the perfect thing, you're not going to do anything. It's like, well, that's a mistake as well. Let's keep going.
If this promise of better earns their attention, they might then ask for a demo, and if that checks out, they then ask for pricing or to start a pilot.
No, they ask for pricing, then a demo. I want to know what you're trying. Even if it's going to be $100,000. Like, nope, I don't care what it is. I can't afford it. It's going to be $2,000. Well, what does that thing do? Because it's going to make me $5,000. Because it's going to cost $99. Like, okay, but isn't it any good? Like, it's like. It's much more nuanced than this.
Nowhere in these steps do you need a working product.
I agree with you. That's good insights. Thank you for being honest about that. On point number 6, let's keep going.
Can grab sufficient customer attention with your promise, you don't get to show them a demo. And if you don't show them a demo, you don't make a sale. So it should logically follow that until you can sell your demo, why bother building a product?
Correct.
I call this tactic demo, sell, build versus build, demo, sell. And
correct.
It's a huge shortcut that significantly de-risks the downside of you wasting needless
time. All right, so this guy has done it before. So that's my strategy too, to do that. That's exactly what you have to do it. You don't want to build it all ahead of time unless you already have that skill built up somehow. We're building it. It's gonna be trivial. You already know how it's gonna work. It's usually a person, like the only time that really happens well is it's like someone that's already into some other niche hobby, like photography or something, and then they build a photography app for the thing that they were having a problem with. That just so happens to have a lot of other people have the same problem, which is what Woz did when he built the Apple One. He had a problem where he wanted to use a local computer, and he knew that how these computers work wasn't much more than these calculators, and he knew it had to have a video terminal on it. So the video terminal plus the ability to drop down into assembly and write assembly right there was mind breaking, and that was just for him. And he realized that other people, and then Jobs realized, oh, other people want this too, and he was the one that was working on product market fit and talking with the users and talking to Woz. So they had a tight link together. Anyone that thinks that Jobs was a technical, oh, you sadly mistaken. He knew all the chips with these things. He didn't know how they all put together. He didn't understand how this guy was putting things all together, but they were talking back and forth a whole bunch about, he was like, what's possible? And he was like, I don't know. What are you asking that for? It's like, well, I have some ideas in mind. He's like, okay, well, I guess you can do this, that. And he was so patient and also enamored with the fact that he was getting his stuff, his creations into the world via Jobs, because he wasn't going to be able to do it. He had no skill at that. But Jobs was able to see the product market fit and talk with the users and get him convinced to create the thing that customers actually wanted and that Woz wanted. And then eventually when that stopped working, that's when they had to split ways. So let's keep going.
An effort only to build something nobody wants. The other costly distraction or trap that founders fall into is number 5. Premature fundraising or joining an accelerator. Because the cost of building products is at an all-time low, investors today don't typically invest in an idea or a working product, but rather...
Right, you have to get traction. So don't even worry about the the camps and the accelerators and stuff until you got product market fit. And to get product market fit, you gotta talk to the damn users, man. I know it sucks. You gotta do calls. You have to do phone calls. And the fact is that people say it sucks, but it's actually pretty fun, especially if it's something that you're interested in, which is like, again, this thing about the 10x salary is not always the best solution. Sometimes taking a 3x salary or 2x salary and dealing with people you like sustainably that nobody else is even caring about and to even pay attention to.
Other traction. You'll have a much higher chance of grabbing.
That's very satisfying. I know it's hard to believe that you're going to have satisfying by working with customers that you like, that like your stuff, that you're connected to, that you have to talk to, and they have a personal relationship with. You don't think that users love that stuff? Come on now. Like, it's so rare. Usually we're just talking to our own technical talking shops or technical people. When we talk to regular people and we're interested in their problem and we have a solution for them, that's very rare. But let's keep going.
An investor's attention with a pipeline of customers that want to buy your product once it's built.
Right, you got to get the pipeline set up.
Versus trying to convince them to give you money to build your product so you can attract customers.
Right, you have to get traction anyway. So that's just, you just know that you're going to have to get traction. So you can't skip this step. I know, it's like, isn't there just one neat trick or 5 easy steps? It's like, no, a lot of it's this like very soft stuff. And who knows how long it's going to take till you find it. You may never find it. Ooh.
More interest. And so until you have some demonstrable traction, why bother wasting precious time?
Correct. The investors, though, they'll kind of find a way to you if you have traction. It's funny how that works.
Investors. And the bigger subtext here is that, one, you may not even need investors in the first place if you can get to traction and customer revenues on your own.
Correct. Bootstrapping.
And two, not all ideas require investors.
Correct. There's a whole list of things that come with VC. VC want their money back quickly. They're not going to be patient and hold your hand on your little idea. They want their money back so they can get into the rounds and get their stuff out, because they have a pool of investors who have been convinced into doing your thing and they want their money out. And they're not going to be nice about it. Usually they're not very nice about it. Angel investors, maybe. Friends and family, usually. But VC, woo! You better already have product market fit and be rocketing to the moon with something. Because otherwise, these guys, you don't want to get these guys involved. They will ruin your life. They will make your life hell. You're like, I hate computers.
Especially VC investment. Every year I meet hundreds of founders in startup accelerators with uninvestable ideas. They had
absolutely
no problem getting into these accelerators. Their problem,
because the accelerators, they have another thing. They have another thing they're doing. Okay, let's be real honest about that.
Is getting out. These founders would be much more successful if they focused instead on bootstrapping and acquiring customers versus doing what everyone else is doing, joining accelerators and chasing investors.
Correct.
Okay, so let's move a little further down the timeline, assuming you have a product or MVP built.
So I like this guy so far. Don't get it twisted.
The next costly mistake I often see is pursuing a public launch. Public launches consume a lot of resources, and a common trap here is falling into the premature optimization trap. This is where it's easy to over-index on scaling needs, whether it's investing on more servers or marketing campaigns or ads. We are often told to go big or go home, and this too is just bad advice.
Well, I mean, okay, wait. All right, let's get nuanced here. If you have a product that's going meteor, yeah, then do a public launch or relaunch it or do a reskin or something and call it something else, and then launch it big, yeah. But initially, you should, if you're doing the bootstrapping, you should kind of already know how big your market is and how acceptable your product market fit is. Then you don't need to go do that. That's kind of like wasting time. So it's a nuance, right? It's all this it depends stuff.
Every hockey stick starts out with a long flat curve, not because the founders don't want to grow fast, but because they have to go through lots of stuff that doesn't work before they find what does.
Right, all this stuff that doesn't work. It's so annoying. Why can't we just get the customer what they want? Well, they keep that. We show it to them and they don't want it, or they want something else, or this thing over here changes.
A better mindset here is deliver value or go home.
There we go. I like that. That's good. Yes. I'm going to agree with that. Yes. You have to deliver value consistently, which is pain in the dick. It's real annoying, but that's how you do it. That's how these things get known to be everybody. It's like we keep refining that thing until it's like, ooh, lots of people like it.
And value delivery doesn't need to start with hundreds or even thousands of customers.
Right.
Just 10 carefully selected initial customers will do.
Yes.
The logic here is that if you
Well,
can't deliver
how about
value to
just
just
2?
10
Why
carefully
is it gonna be 10?
hand-selected customers, what makes you think you can deliver value to hundreds or thousands of customers on your own? Now, if delivering value to 10 customers is easy, then don't just stay there. Turn your attention to 10xing that to 100 customers.
Yeah. Once you get the first couple, 3, 5, whatever, and you talk to them and care about them and give them some sort of partial solution or getting near the solution, oh yeah, you can always multiply it after that. It's just getting those first few that are like, you're worth messing with. If you're doing something different enough and better enough, or more fun or cheaper or whatever, that gets them convinced. There's no raw numbers on these things. That's why you have to like do all this prep work before you write code.
And then to 1,000. I call this tactic a 10x product launch, and I prefer it to public launches because it helps you play the hockey stick in stages versus letting the hockey stick play.
This is a more reasonable approach. This is kind of the realistic approach if you're not going to try and do the VC route, which you shouldn't do unless you're already like at this point right here, like stage 3, and you see it just going, oh my god. But that's like, we're gonna have a bump in technology before that happens again, because or niching down, and we can take somebody else's market share that they're fucking up because they're not paying attention. It's probably getting more like the latter, where you just take market share away from somebody else after being fired from that company and getting a group of people together and going, okay, we're gonna go do this thing that we just got fired from, that have all this technical knowledge of. We can't get hired anybody else. Well, we just start up a new business and take their business away.
You and whiplash you around. The next costly mistake along the same lines is number 3, starting with a freemium model. The thinking here.
I agree. Do not freemium. Do not do free models. Always have your first customers pay, even if it's $1. Because this is a way for you to know whether you actually have value at all.
Here goes that when launching a new product, it's often,
if you do the free stuff, you're fooling yourself. You're fooling yourself. You're delaying the insights that are coming in from your customers that your shit ain't even worth free.
A good idea to give away your product for free so that 1, you can learn from users, 2, you can get them to try before they buy, and 3, setting pricing them based on what users will be willing to pay. While sound in theory, things seldom work this way in practice.
Correct.
Because again,
there's big services, they can get away with that, but these niche services that I've been talking about, and what he's talking about too, no, you got to make them pay. And that's also a way to know you have product market fit so you can scale it. So it's not just being a dick. It's proving that the software the stuff that you're making, the solution you have is valid enough to go to a higher market. If you're not interested in that, do the free, give it away for free. That's fine.
Most first launches typically miss the mark.
Absolutely. It's an iterative process. If you're lucky if you get to hit version 1.0, come on, man.
When users encounter a half-baked product, they don't give you feedback. Instead, they ghost you and leave.
Correct. That's why you can't rely on them. They won't give you the right stuff. Now, if your customers are paying, at least they're going to complain, not just ghost you.
Without user feedback, there is no true learning, just guessing, which is a recipe, in my opinion, for going around.
Absolutely. And during the ZERP, it was super popular. Very popular in the ZERP. But now the ZERP is over. All your stuff has to prove. You have to prove that your value with customers. Nobody's going to just believe you with a freemium.
More importantly, pricing is one of the more riskier parts of a working business model. It separates your users from customers, and it's not really your customer's job to set pricing. That's your job. So finally, what I'll say here is that charging from day 1 extends your runway, which is why I'm a big fan of starting with premium.
It's not just extend your runway. It's proving that your product has value and you're not just fooling yourself. And making that a thing, man. Making it a KPI. It's going to be an indicator where if you're getting closer or further away, or if it's worth sticking with whether you're a solo developer, whether it's worth bringing somebody else on or not, or you just want to keep it for yourself and just do your 100 users and be fine with that. Do 1,000 users and leave it. Don't worry about it. Or you say, I had 1,000 users, I can hit 10,000 if I get three people to help me out. And that'll be the kinds of decisions you'll make. You'll be very careful with how you grow it, and how you're paying attention to who's important, as opposed to listening to the VCs and getting off track. But you should put this feature in that XYZ over there has, and we can all that stuff. You're not doing that stuff. You're focusing on the customer and making sure that they're being treated properly, ethically, morally. Ooh, ethics in software. Oh my goodness.
Before freemium. A closely related motivation for doing public launches and starting with freemium is reason number 2, which is going too broad.
Right, you want to niche down. So I like this guy's approach. He's good. Let's keep going.
In order to pursue a large market, which is what we're again told to do, a common mistake is to think that your product should be for everyone.
Don't pick a niche, man. This is the era of niching down.
But when you try to market your product to everyone, you end up reaching nobody. While all companies at scale address many different customer segments, we have to remember that they all started with a much smaller and focused early.
Right, early adopters of your core users for your course. So mine was digital video special effects filters. It was plugin filters for After Effects. That was the thing I started with. It was early adopters. It was super niche. After Effects 2. It just recently allowed plugins to happen. I just went to a conference with Adobe because I was working at another company doing Photoshop plugins, and we're doing After Effects plugins. There was like nobody using this damn thing. It was motion graphics wasn't even a good word then. It was just animation tool, and it wasn't very good. It was kind of crappy. Version 2 was all right. Version 3 was awesome. That's when it really took off. But I was doing it at version 2. And I was building these little plugin things and just goofing off and like uploading them to AOL. And then I think I was charging like $10 for them or something, or $9. I had one that was like $9. And people just flooded in all these orders. I'm like, what the hell's going on? These things are goofy. It took me literally 20 minutes to make this damn thing. Because I've been working on this image processing stuff as my day job, and I just kind of knew how to do all this stuff. And it was very esoteric at the time. And I built my first plugin at the conference, and there was like maybe 6 people there. I think I was the only one that actually made anything. I'm just taking around. Yeah, so I got these early adopters. I was like, okay, I guess I'm gonna make some stuff with them. And I just made a version 2, and then a version 3, and I made more of them. And I did a little package, and then the orders came in so much I couldn't take it. So my girlfriend at the time, she quit her job and just helped me out and just took orders all day long. And I just made more plugins and just kept going with that, and then just made it made it better, packaging, manuals, all that stuff. Bootstrapped it. Let's keep going.
Adopter segment. Before Facebook opened their social network to the public, they built much smaller networks on college campuses, and
right, they did this lead us to route. But let's not completely use Facebook as an example, because it was also a military operation. It was a fucking DARPA program called LifeLog? You can look that up. CIA maybe.
Their first initial early adopters were college students on just one campus, Harvard. Apple's early adopters were creative professionals like graphic.
Right, that was their elite theory coming, which worked. I think it's not clear because it was the intelligence services were involved. So it's like, and they were doing it at high-end college campuses. It's like, interesting.
Designers and publishers, while Microsoft's early adopters were largely business owners and hobbyist programmers.
Right. Then that's how all this stuff starts as hobbyists. Come on now. There's always the tinkerer that does it. Unix, tinkerer. Apple, tinkerer. Microsoft Basic, tinkerer.
Early adopters have above average motivation to use your product, and so the logic here is that if you can deliver value to them, it will be much harder to deliver value to other types of customers. Early adopters also tend to be less price sensitive than mainstream customers.
Yeah, of course, because they have some burning desire, some burning problem that literally no one's paying attention to. It's like, that's too expensive. Instead of just doing a piece of it or slice of it or some particular little tool of it and iterating on that and seeing if other people like it. It's like, oh my God, I can't believe you did it. It's like, well, those are the people, man. It's super fun doing that. I don't know if people are just like, it has to be huge. We're going to go big $1 billion blue. It's like, I mean, maybe there's people that are super like that, but having the tool for somebody else and solving a problem they want, and then they get the feedback on it where you listen to them and actually help them out. Man, it's super fun. Come on now. People think like a computer, like programmers don't want to talk to users. It's like, no, we're users, man.
And so it's also easier to start with premium before freemium with them. This brings me to my number 1 costly mistake, which is at the root of many of the other mistakes I've covered so far. Number 1, falling in love with your solution.
Oh, yeah. This is the lead mine. Yes. This is classic error. Look, man, what we're doing is we're trying to do a solution for a problem space. And that solution space, because it's software and because it's humans, is always going to be changing one way or another. And we got to let it go, right? I got $1 million in that software. I got $1 million in that source code. Sometimes we just got to delete that thing and move on and use the knowledge of what that thing was to make something new. It's such a deadly trap. I definitely felt like this with my with doing the plugins thing. I was doing OS 9 and they were upgrading to OS 10. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to move. I didn't want to keep going. That's one of the reasons I was like, yeah, I think I'm going to take a break and sell this company. I didn't want to do OS 10. I didn't want to dive into Unix. I was super into the microcomputer Macintosh OS 9 line. Very skilled at that. And I was like, to dump the skill set and to start over. I was like, nah, I'm going to take my money, go learn yoga, become a yoga instructor. Oh, that's funny. Let's keep going.
We entrepreneurs are naturally wired to think in terms of solutions, but for all the reasons above, starting with a solution, no matter how easy it initially seems, often consumes more time, money, and effort than we originally estimate. But the real kicker is that it's also usually not what's riskiest in a startup. After years of building what I thought were awesome technical solutions that didn't turn into awesome working business models.
Oh man, I got burned on this one. I did this thing called what I call it, Cyclonist, and it was this like painterly thing. It was all animated. I spent months on this thing. And all the documentation was all hypercard, supercard thing was all animated, and I did all these animations and After Effects and all this other the documentation. I rewrote it over flopped. Don't flop. People just didn't care at all. I spent months on it, and they're like, "What about this other thing?" I had these other things running. What about doing this? And I'm like, "Are you serious? You want that?" I listened to them. And when I listened to them and I took them into consideration, and I was like, okay, I'll do it. I'll eat my ego, because I was super fascinated with that Cyclonus thing. I'm like, I'll just do what you want. Send a look. And that was a huge hit. I was like, millions of dollars. I'm like, okay, well, when you listen to your customers and you subsume your ego, you can do, and I like working with them. And I just did, it wasn't exactly what I thought was cool, but they liked it, and I like working, doing stuff for them and making money and all that stuff happened. But I had to listen to my customer and go to a technical thing that wasn't as technical. It wasn't as hard. It wasn't as difficult. It was definitely well under what I just done with the Cyclonus. It was way easier. It took just a few months.
I switched my focus to chasing problems worth solving.
There we go. Problems worth solving. And who tells you who those are? You have to find it. You have to get inspiration. No. Who tells you? Oh, your customers tell you. Your customers will tell you what problems they're having that you might be able to solve. That means you have to talk to them. Yes, you might have to talk to them. They're not very scary. They're friendly people. It's just people that just be bopping along. So you come along and start asking about their problem. They go, "You want to know about my problems?" Like, yeah, I want to know about your problem. They go, what? No one's done that before.
And solution building got a whole lot easier and a whole lot rewarding in exchange. Problems, not solutions, create new spaces for
Right. The problems. You have to fall in with the problem space. Solutions are going to be very married. But if you fall in love with the problem space and your users, or the people you're working with, hell yeah, that's worth 10x salary easily.
Innovation, and not all problems are created equal. Going back to my earlier recommendation, finding problem solution fit, ideally before you build.
It could take a lifetime. You may never get it. 3 months. It could take 6 months. It could take 9 months. It could take a year. It could take 10 years. Yeah. Get ready, or it may never happen. Oof. So how long do you want to work on it? That's adventure driven. How long do you want to work on it for? Until you reach something where you just, okay, I can't do this anymore? Or like I did with Cyclonus, I just like somebody tell me, like, man, the sales went in the dumper, and you're like, oh shit. Humble yourself. How long does that take? For me, it took like 9 months to do the Cyclonus, and another 2 months for me to go, oh shit, I fucked up.
Your solution is the key to drastic.
And how many times did that have to go around before I was like clued in? I'm lucky. From what I understand, I'm lucky that I was like listening to my customers and not falling in love with my solution. You could not tell them they're stupid for thinking I'm not liking my stuff. Listen to what they had to say. What do you want? I was like, well, that's kind of cool, but this thing's where I really need. I'm like, give them what they want, man.
Particularly reducing your downside while searching for the biggest possible upside or biggest problem worth solving. All you need is 10 to 15 hours a week and 90 days to it.
Maybe. You'll get closer. It's a lot to ask, though. Maybe you could talk to customers in that time period and just do it on the side as a side thing instead of making 16 hours a week for 3 months and then you'll have it. It's like, Maybe not.
achieve problem solution fit. I built a set of guided playbooks for new founders that walks through all the steps. If you'd like to learn more,
all right, this is a commercial. All right, give them a like and subscribe, and give me a like and subscribe. And my horse, I'm getting a little bit hoarse. I'm losing my voice from doing these videos and yelling. All right, I will talk to you soon.